people always say, oh, you've been the primary caregiver. I don't consider myself that.
Yeah,
I'm the primary care coordinator. The caregivers are the ones who actually do the work, because, you know, and I'm eternally thankful to them and for you guys. And she was, you know, fortunately, both my parents, I was fortunate enough to be there for them till the very end, and my mom ended up passing away in August of 2024.
Sunil is the son of a patient, former hospice patient that we took care of, and it was a blessing to serve her and to be with her. A couple months after she passed, he reached out, and he was like, you know, I'd love to chat and figure out if we can help educate other caregivers who are in it, taking care of their loved ones, and talk about caregiver burnout, talk about what does it mean to take care of your mom in your home, and him being an immigrant, and what does that look like with hospice and end of life. And so we recently sat down for a quick podcast, and it was so good. It was good to chop it up with him and catch up, because I hadn't seen him in a long time. If you are interested in taking care of your mom on hospice at home, this is a great podcast for you. If you are interested in learning more about what is hospice and what is end of life, and the life cycle of taking care of your elderly parents, this is a great one for you. Sunil went through a lot with taking care of both of his mom and dad, and both of them passed away in a span of 10 years. And so this is a great podcast. So I'm excited for you to step in and listen and learn from Sunil. So, all right, let's go. So Sunil, just tell us about yourself in general, if you don't mind, just who you are, and so that everyone knows who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Sunil, and I moved to Texas back in 2011. I grew up in New York.
Nice.
Since my family migrated from India.
Nice.
And growing up there, you know, was quite an experience. So we're a tight family, my parents and my two sisters. And then, you know, back in 2011, 2010, my son was born. So I'm an older dad, you know. And then we decided to relocate to Dallas in 2011. My sister has been here since the late 90s. Okay. So we had family here. We used to come visit.
Nice.
And then I moved my parents down here in 2011, towards the end. And I was in the clothing industry in New York, and moved here and kind of took some time off watching my son grow up.
Nice.
And then got into tech. So been doing tech for the last about 10 years, since 2015.
Oh, cool. Did you miss the cold weather in New York, or not as much?
I don't miss the cold weather, but I made friends with the hot weather.
that's
took a while.
It took a while. Yeah, it gets hot here in Texas. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, we were talking recently, and one of the things that we were talking about just in general is, you know, we had the opportunity to serve your mom and serve you, and I think we were just talking recently over, I think, an email, going back and forth, and one of the things that we had some good conversations while we were taking care of your mom, and, you know, the inside of caregiving, you know, and I said, you know, what if we just came on here and just talked? And I think a lot of people would appreciate that, to hear your side of the story, because your story is pretty, it's a lot of people don't realize a lot of people go through it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when they go through it, they don't have anyone to turn to for advice or even guidance.
Right.
You know, and so I appreciate your time, you know, coming and sharing
Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share. And
it's an honor.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before the cameras were turned on, but walk me through kind of the timeline. Just, you know, when you came to Texas with mom and dad, you know, walk me through the timeline, if you don't mind, with kind of the events that occurred.
Sure. So Both my mom and dad were pretty active. When they moved to Texas. But my dad had been having health issues. He was diabetic. He had some other issues, but he was still pretty mobile. But after we moved here a few months down the road, summer of 2012, he had an episode which landed him in the hospital, and it turned out it was hyponatremia. Up until then, I did not know what hyponatremia was, low sodium. And when we got to the hospital, because he was acting all confused and whatever, when we got to the hospital, the doctors in the ER were kind of surprised that he was still kind of conscious at that level because his sodium was at 101.
Wow.
And which, as you know, the normal range is 130s, right?
Wow.
So they had never seen a patient come in who was still,
able to,
he was, at least be alert. And then he got admitted to the hospital and then ended up having a seizure the very first night, was in the ICU. But made a recovery, went into rehab, got back home.
Nice.
And then we had some incidents in between. But, fast forward, so we kind of got settled into the new routines and what have you. And he had to stop driving because he used to drive up until then. But then fast forward to 2017 is when my mom... just one fine morning, we all lived together in a joint family. So she just, I heard a thud in her room and she had suffered a fall.
Oh, wow.
And I helped her get up. My dad was, I think, in the bathroom. And I had her sit down, like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah. Then had her stand up and she couldn't stand up. It was a lot of pain. So I was like, something's not right. Called the 911, got her in the hospital. Turned out she had broken her hip and had surgery, and the whole. And that was a big event, turning point for her.
Everything.
Right.
Wow.
She landed up in a skilled nursing facility. That's where I learned the nuances between skilled nursing versus acute care, and what the insurance covers and what Medicare covers, and we had a harrowing experience at that. So we ended up getting her to an acute rehab, which happened to be very close by. Pam, as you probably know, and they did a phenomenal job. And she went in there completely laid up, which the term is max assist. She came home walking on a walker, which was my first experience with this whole thing. And that's when we got, where I had to engage with home health care. So that's when we got her a caregiver to come home, help her with the shower. And then 2019, fast forward, my dad, in June, summer of that year, just was walking with a walker and just couldn't get up, and that's when he lost his mobility. And once he lost his mobility, he was just unable to ambulate. He had to be in a wheelchair around the house, and that was quite a turning point in their caregiving, right? Because up until then, he was still walking with the walker, with the, And once that happened, going into the year end and early 2020, and just before we had the COVID shutdown, in Jan of 2020, he ended up in a hospital and in the same rehab, PAM. And he came home mid-Feb, I believe it was. And just 3-4 weeks later, we had the COVID shutdown, COVID lockdowns.
Oh, man. So it was like boom.
Boom, yeah. And then that year in 2020, through December, he passed away on December 10th of that year. We were in the hospital about 6 times. So every time I would go in with him, they would not let me in because of the restrictions, and I'd have to fight my way in because he can't hear, he's 93, if he can't go in, I'm going to have to take him. And I'd get permission to get on because they were very strict.
Yeah.
And every time I would go in, I'm like, this time I'm going to come back with COVID.
Yeah.
But all through those visits, I never got COVID.
Wow.
Which was miraculous. And he never got COVID.
Man,
and there were a couple of
amazing.
times when he was actually put on what was termed as a COVID floor because they had no other rooms.
Didn't get COVID.
Didn't get. But, coming into the marginal decade of a person's life from both their experiences is probably the hardest, and the last 2 years seem to be the hardest. So after my dad passed away, my mom was still okay. And then we moved houses in the same neighborhood, and 2022, fast forward, and in the interim, I should mention that in 2017, and my dad's sister used to live in New York with a couple of other sisters. 3 sisters lived together. They never married, so they all lived together. And one had passed away a few years ago. The second one passed away in October of 2017. So this other aunt, my dad's sister, was left alone
in New York.
In New York. So we, my uncle, my dad's brother, who lives in Austin, and my dad has other 2 brothers who lived in New Jersey. And, they all had their lives, whatever, and the sister's alone. So we had her come live with us.
Wow.
So I had 3 seniors from 2017.
What?
And she was very with it, and she was very, agile till the very end. And just about a year after my dad passed away, she passed away in December of 2021.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but she was fine, no walker, nothing. 92 years old. Just something happened, and then she was, And then in 2022, after we had moved houses, my mom ends up in the hospital for a very innocuous, infection, cellulitis. The nurse would come in once a week, and she noticed, there's something, and then she wasn't feeling it, so we took her to the hospital. That was end of August. And we went there on a Monday, and then by Tuesday she was doing fine, and they were going to discharge her on Wednesday. And I was staying with her overnight in the hospital. And Tuesday evening, going into the night, she started getting confused, and then around midnight, her vitals went crazy. We were trying to get a doctor. The nurses were trying to calm her down, and turned out, finally they got a doctor to come in and roll her down. They rolled her down to the ICU, and both my parents had, told us that they'd want to be DNR. We didn't want to put any tubes or anything. So we told them we don't want any kind of active life support measures, but just stabilize. So they were able to stabilize her, and it turned out that she had developed sepsis.
Oh wow!
How that happened, we still don't know. But she was in the ICU, and the following morning, the head of the ICU, the pulmonologist, comes in, and he says, she's still not, and this was like in that 3 in the morning where she got admitted. So once she was stabilized, we got home. My sisters were both there with me, my brother-in-law. And we went home like 5 in the morning, came back at 8, and the head of the ICU is like, it's not looking good. And so her blood, they did the ABG, arterial blood gas. These are the terms I was learning. And her CO2 levels were way over the top. Her infection, her white blood count was something like 34K.
Wow.
So really high, right? So they basically brought the hospital chaplain in to give us, and we were like, what are you talking about? Like, she was just fine. Yes, like, how is this? I couldn't wrap our heads around it. And so kind of they were like, look, it's, you got to face reality and what have you. And they brought the the hospital, hospice people, because they wanted us to sign off the paperwork so they can transfer her to. And we like, okay, I was like, let me talk it over with my family, what's going on. And we didn't sign the paper, and turned out there was the hospitalist came in, and he said, I'm going to talk to the cardiologist. Yeah. The cardiologist came in, and we talked to him on the following, that was a Wednesday. On a Thursday, we were still holding off. Thursday morning, this doctor was still like, the head of ICU, like, you're wasting your time and it's not going to change, I'm sorry. Wow. But it's just, then the cardiologist comes in, and we talk to him, and he's like, what are you talking about? Give me a day to work on her. She's and my mom's like in an unconscious state, right, on like just the BiPAP machine. Yeah. So we are so confused. We're like, here's the head of ICU saying, like, you gotta, and here's this guy saying, like, don't you guys talk to each other. So that's when we learned that how we treat the body as parts. Yes. And nobody talks to each other. So it's been like unbelievable revelation. And so we, had her stay. I mean, they couldn't, of course, throw her out, because the doctor is saying, give me a day to work on her. Following day is Friday. The hospitalist calls the neurologist on call to come and check her. He comes in, he checks her, opens her eyes and sees, and does other check. And he's like, I'm going to order another ABG. And we're like, but the head of ICU refused to order another ABG. He's like, no, it's not necessary. He's like, no, I'm going to override that. I'm going to order. So he orders that in the afternoon on Friday, and her CO2 levels have dropped substantially. Wow. Her white blood count is come down to 12,000. Everything's trending in the right direction. But this guy is still maintaining his prognosis. Wow. No, they obviously, I give everyone benefit of the doubt. He's going from his experience, his statistical data, that a person in their 80s, these are the odds, they're not good. So everybody's not, But the thing is, we are all individual, and, there's data, and then there's individual cases, right? Mm-hmm. But so my mom's never been left alone in the room at all. Somebody's always there with her. So the family's there. There's always somebody there while she's unconscious. Well, come Saturday is my sister from New York, Neelam. It's her birthday. And the hospital, the head of ICU has said, I'm giving her till Saturday. That's her. She's not going to make it past that day. So, of course, my sister is quite distraught that on her birthday, her mom is going to, But for some inexplicable reason, by Saturday evening, I come home, and they call me, and they said, I was like, okay, this is the news from because I had just come home. Yeah. They said, we are transferring your mom to a step-down unit. Her numbers have stabilized and everything. So I rushed to the hospital, and they're taking her upstairs to a regular room. Yeah. She's still sleeping. So I stay with her, but now she's no longer has the normal oxygen. And next morning, Sunday, which was the day before Labor Day, just September 4th, I remember that.
My mom, September 3rd. That's funny.
Yeah. And she opens her eyes and looks at me all confused and says, "Where have you been?" And I just was like floored. I'm like,
Wow.
I give her a hug. I'm like, "Mom, where have you been?"
Wow.
And then she started, she seemed like completely
Nothing. Like,
blank. And we didn't know if she suffered any, issues with the brain or what. Then it's a Sundays, but they call this neurologist on call. He comes in the afternoon. They run a MRI or the brain scan on her, and he says that looks okay, doesn't seem. And by that afternoon, she's starting to connect the dots, and he says, "See, I told you, it's like a computer. The lights are coming on, and give her a day." By Monday, she was much more alert. And then that Thursday, they discharge her to acute rehab, which was PAM, because I knew I asked for it.
Yeah.
And she stayed there, I think, 3 weeks. And again, went there, max assist completely, and came home walking.
Wow.
This has been...
So now, mom, man, that's great. So mom gets PAM rehab, discharge.
Right.
Wow.
So, with what happens is, like, I was just saying, like, unfortunately, everybody doesn't have the wherewithal to be with their loved ones in the hospital, and we have to trust the medical professionals and take their word for it, right? But when you are there hands-on, you start questioning a lot of things. Yeah. And that's what led us to question these doctors, like why, and then ask other opinions and then listen to it instead of, but unfortunately other folks might not be in that situation for work or whatever, and then kind of leave it to the doctor make that decision in good faith. And I'm not saying there's any, it's just they are assessing based on that. That's why we always say get a second opinion
always,
right? Because, and it's usually different than the first opinion, right? So this also led me on that journey of learning more about things and asking questions, and so like my mom, for example, before she got out of the ICU, like 4 days no nutrition and just the IV going on, and her glucose levels are stable, her electrolytes are stable, everything's good. So I'm walking out of the hospital with the hospitalist, and I'm like, this is interesting, So he's like, I'm surprised that this numbers are still stable and glucose is still stable. So I'm like, it's, that's great. It's gluconeogenesis, right? And he looks at me and he's like, are you a doctor? Are you from the medical field? I'm like, no, I just learning these things, these terms, right? And, and
he's probably like, what?
And de novo lipogenesis and gluconeogenesis and all these things. So, because you don't know, you learn these things. Right? So coming back to the rehab, she comes home, and we have a couple of more instances where she ends up in the hospital, like in Jan of 2023. The 2 days she gets her booster, the COVID shots, whatever, and which I had, second thoughts about, but my family wanted to get those administered. 2 days later, she gets symptomatic in Jan of 2023, ends up in the hospital. Now she is diagnosed with hyponatremia. This term comes back from my dad's. I mean, how did that? Because she never had a sodium issue, and her sodium's at 120 or because that's. So then, in researching, maybe it's a correlation, not a causation, but it turns out that in certain elderly patients, after certain types of because they're asking us, has there been a change in medication? Nope, nothing. All she did was get the shot, and 2 days later she's becoming. So I'm looking at researching, and on the government NIH's website, there are case histories of elderly patients developing SIADH after this, shot. So she's diagnosed with CHF leading to SIADH related hyponatremia. Gets discharged. We again request PAM. This time she's there just for a week or 10 days, and she's back home. And then she has to be put on a medication for hyponatremia. So just to revert back, when she came home in October of 2022, just a few months before, interestingly, she had been on cholesterol medication. She has basically osteoarthritis she had, and she was on high cholesterol medication and blood pressure medication. But given the change that we administered in her nutrition, her blood pressure medicine was stopped and her cholesterol medicine was stopped, and her numbers remained
the same.
Normalized until the end, which is quite interesting at that age, right? So when she comes home from the rehab in 2022, September or early October, we end up celebrating her 90th birthday. She turned 90 in 2022. And then fast forward to 2023, she's still doing okay. Celebrated her 91st birthday. Come fast forward to 2024, May, which is Mother's Day, when she ends up in the hospital for an ER visit. She was having some breathing difficulty, and turned out it was a nothing burger, and they couldn't explain it. It was whatever. But that's when we noticed the change in her, cognition to quite a large degree. And we consulted the doctor, and she's like, it seems like she's developed a lot of early stage dementia, which she was having some symptoms, especially with the sundown syndrome in the evenings, which is a big, and I did not know about the sundown syndrome. And then the following week is when we noticed this deterioration in her mental and physical status, and I reached out to the doctor, and she referred Charlin, you guys, and I'm so grateful to you all for coming and being there for her and supporting her all the way through the end.
Man, it's amazing what you've gone through. We were just talking before, like, you think about moving to Texas in 2011. 2011 all the way to 2024. It's been a journey. You probably have your master's in caregiving, like based off of Like I was saying before, people always say, "Oh, you've been the primary caregiver." I don't consider myself that. I'm the primary care coordinator. The caregivers are the ones who actually do the work, because I'm eternally thankful to them and for you guys. And up until, but she was, fortunately, both my parents, I was fortunate enough to be there for them till the very end, and my mom ended up passing away in August of 2024 on August 18th. So and it's amazing. One of the things that
and your nurse was present with us. Chacha, and I'm very thankful to her.
One of the things that I think about is, your story is powerful because you were able to go through that with your loved ones, right? And a lot of families, they don't have the, like we talked about, maybe the ability because of work or or timing or knowledge. And so what are some things that you maybe would advise, someone that is in the middle of that situation? Like, right, let's say if you were to tell yourself something, back in let's say 2018, 2019, what would you advise yourself?
Develop a good network of people around you, and we couldn't have done it without the support of our family and friends. We had some friends here. My sister, who's been here many years, she had a very close-knit friend who was just amazing, and she and my sisters and the other family members, they were really instrumental in this. So having that community or that network of people around you that are not just fair weather friends.
Very true.
that is very important.
Yes.
Right? And that's when you realize who is your fair weather friends and
who are there to stay. Yes.
Right.
Wow. Because that's a good point, because you can't it takes a village to raise a child.
That's right.
But it takes a village to take care of your elderly family.
Yeah, and it's also, as someone pointed out to me aptly towards the end, and we were like, my mom, she was still okay till the end, but she was still managed to eat on her own. But sometimes she had to be fed.
Yeah.
And somebody made a good observation, so like how life comes a full circle. There, you're feeding. She's become a baby again, and she's getting ready. In our culture in India, we believe in rebirth. She's getting ready to be reborn as a baby again. So it's this whole circle of life. Where our parents raise us, they hold our hands, they make us walk, they teach us how to do things, and when they get to a point, they are using the same type of walker, like a baby walker. We are changing, they had changed our diapers, now we are changing their diapers. They are feeding us, now we are feeding them.
That's
It's such a dynamic.
It's amazing.
So in many cultures, in Africa, India, Asia, it's very common for families to live together, and because of these specific reasons, but with the way things are, for whatever, with the Industrial Revolution, whatever, we became a nuclearized society. So now we've got these nuclear pods. And I think at some point it's going to have to come to that term, because as the population is aging, we are seeing a lot more strains on the system, right? Whether it's nursing homes or what.
It's almost like it is causing everyone to come back together.
To rethink that.
And to rethink it.
Yeah, and some places are providing incentives. Like I believe Singapore, if you're a young person and you can co-live with an elderly person, you get incentives, you get tax rebates and stuff like that. So these are innovative ways of taking that thing, and of course it also provides you with the thing.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that.
The other thing I would say is, beyond having the network and support, what I learned for myself is just being present with the person. There were times like my mom would be sitting in the room and she'd be like, just come and sit here. And, I'll just sit there and just be present with them, watch a show with them, put on their favorite music or whatever. You don't have to do anything per se. Just being present is it makes a big difference to the person.
Wow. What was your mom's favorite show? Do you remember?
She used to watch a lot of Indian, TV shows in the day, and then later years she loved music.
Oh wow,
whether we call it bhajans, like religious hymns and mantras and stuff like that. That's cool. Or she would like certain shows. She would just sit there, but she was just like at that stage, you just feel you want a presence.
That's it. Yeah.
They just need somebody. They feel like they need somebody around.
And it's funny you say that. It goes back to the circle of life where we talked about, as the baby just needs that presence. Just like you're saying, it's at the end. There's just that presence.
Right. And in the end, also, we were told, like, you have to, when there come a point, you have to let them know, like, you're going to be okay, we are going to be okay, and you can go whenever you feel, because that attachment is so strong that sometimes the person feels kind of trapped and thing.
Yes,
and interestingly, the day my mom passed away, she was perfect. I mean, not perfectly. She had eaten her dinner the evening of when we called, in the night, your service.
I remember,
the nurse came in.
It was like, phew.
And then she calmed down. And then the following day, which was a Sunday, she was in peacefully sleeping, and we were told, like, now it's whenever time is, at least she's at peace. And I had just stepped out of the house for a few minutes with my son in the afternoon just to go get something to eat, and my sister was there in the room, and she stepped out to the kitchen for a few minutes. And so my mom was by herself in the room, and one of the caregivers was just sitting there in the thing. And during that 15 to 20 minute time period, she went. And I was on my way back home, and the caregiver called, "Are you coming? Where are you?" I'm like in the neighborhood. I'll be right there. What's going on? She said, "No, come home. My sister's in the kitchen." And the nurse was sitting out in the living room. So they went and called her, and she's like, she's gone. Peaceful. But she somehow waited for us to leave the room. Right, so that was incidental.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's amazing. What are anything else you could think of that would be?
I did write down a couple of things.
Great.
So because I figure if I forget, I should think, and be present, and also advocate for their wishes. Sometimes we feel like, oh no, but you can't have ice cream, or at that point, what are you trying to
accomplish,
right? Yeah.
Holding grudges.
What are you trying to aim? What are you trying to aim? You want to extend the life, or you want to enhance the quality of the life, right? So you have to think through those things also. So advocate for their wishes. That's very important to do. And of course, being present, and then small rituals, if they help the person, because we are all ritualistic. If they like a certain kind of music, play for them. If they like to, the outdoors, just take them by the window, or if you have a patio, we would make her sit outside on the wheelchair. It's simple stuff.
The small things matter so much.
Yeah.
Wow, because in that time, those small things become very amplified in their lives.
Much so.
Yeah.
Very much.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's some good notes.
Those are like things that I, felt. But there's like so many things in life that we go through, and this kind of teaches us, right, that it's not, it's love as it's thrown around. It's not the grand gestures. It's not about the grand gestures, right? Love is about the small things.
Small intentional things.
That's the small thing.
Yeah. Wow. How, after you've been in that mode of caregiving for so long, how did you, I know it's probably like it was a shock, but how did you recover? How did you, take care of yourself? How did you do that?
you have to kind of, look forward, and you have to look back and focus on the fond memories of it, right? So somehow we are wired to do that if we can allow ourselves to do that. So don't live in, we all have regrets. We can all say we could have done this better, could have, should have, would have, if.
That's true.
Right? But try to get a perspective and see what, are the fond memories and focus in on that. And look forward to what you learn from your lessons and how you can, enhance others' lives as you go along. And, which for me meant rethinking a lot of things and, regrouping. And that led me to explore getting in this industry, which, as I mentioned, I'm on this journey, which I never thought I would, but in the home care industry,
That's cool.
And that's my way of kind of
back.
paying a tribute to my mom and my dad.
That's cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Is there anything you did for yourself during this time? Like, I know it can be like really overwhelming and stressful. Is there anything that you found helpful?
Yeah, a lot of walking. A lot of walking, and we are blessed to live in Texas and in areas where we have, we're not in the concrete jungles like in New York. And so we can always find an outdoor space and just spend time outside and just being, reflective. It's very helpful. At least I found it very therapeutic and helpful. Yeah,
that's essential.
It's just. Biking, walking, for me walking is really good.
That's good.
Just being outside and getting some air, and because at times being in gets overwhelming, so even just walking out, for a few minutes or 15 minutes, it really helps.
That's good. That was really good.
It's kind of on it, but were you someone that could always ask people for help, or did this kind of change?
It changed. Yeah, as you realize that you can't be, all things at all times, right? And a lot of times we have our ego gets in the way, I don't want to ask. But no, it's nothing wrong with asking for help. It develops your humility too. That's important. And people are very helpful. People, will come and help you at the right time. But the thing is, that's why I said, if you develop a good network and all that, you're not going and approaching people at that end stage, because you've put that deposit in that bank of friendship or relationship, right? It's and people will step up and help.
That's good. How does I know we talked about culture from different places, so how does culture play a big part of, in your experience, when it comes to taking care of your parents, or even the medical industry, right? What are some things that you could kind of speak to from you being from India? What are some things you would like to speak into to help others understand what you went through?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, the culture-wise, because we are so nuclearized here, right? We so became, so distant from each other. It becomes much more challenging for people. While if we can bring those, values, the old country values together, and not just India, but even European cultures, Italians. If you go to New York, you still see in Brooklyn,
the boroughs,
families living, Italians living together. You have the Jewish families living
Greek,
together. You have Greek, you have African. There's a lot of joint family structures there, right? So having that sense of community, building that around you, I think that really alleviates a lot of pressure on people. And again, so there's you have your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. But we don't pay too much attention to our spiritual health. So those 4 pillars are so important,
that's
right?
True.
And I think it's just everybody has to find what works best for them. But generally, we are all wired for connection, and that's why there's such high levels of, anxiety and depression.
Makes sense.
Because the more connected we are, the less connected we are.
Yes.
Right? We're sitting across dinner tables, and instead of talking to the person, we are looking at our phone. So this is, this can be a great tool, or it can be your best friend or your best enemy. It's how, are you using the technology? Are you letting the technology use you? Yeah. And you can use the technology to enhance your caregiving needs also. And you have so many resources and knowledge bases at your fingertips to ask questions and to find answers for caregiving and for medical questions. You can actually have a intelligent conversation with your doctor.
With the doctor, to be able to go and say, these are the things I've noticed. Can I get some input from you on what you think? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Gluconeogenesis.
And with all due respect to doctors, and we need, everybody's input. At times doctors tend to, when they reach a certain stage, and we are all humans, they tend to develop what's referred as a God complex. So they will be like, it's me, or, it's like, but, just questioning it is not being disrespectful. It's just wanting to understand and then saying, that's why we go and ask for second opinions.
Yeah. That's good. So, speaking of doctors, I know a good friend of mine, Dr. Humair Ahmed, was your doctor. And
she was amazing.
Can you walk through just what it was like? You mentioned before what is like on the back end side, having a concierge doctor. You mind just talking about that briefly?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we were referred to Dr. Ahmed right after my mom was discharged from PAM back in 2022 after ICU and the whole incident. And at that point, we realized that, it wasn't very practical for us to, schlep her to primary care visits, and we had appointments with the nephrologist or with the cardiologist or whatever, and to get a referral every time and going to primary care and all that. So we were referred to Dr. Ahmed, and it turned out that up until that time, I had just heard of concierge medicine on a very high level, and I never considered it because I always thought it was too bougie and it wasn't like something available to an average person. But when I was introduced to her, I was pretty blown away, and we signed up just before even my mom got home from PAM. We engaged with Dr. Ahmed and signed off with her, and it was a game changer in that she was available to us at any time, unlike having to wait for a normal primary care office to open, or calling an answering service and then the on-call doctor calling back. And so whether it's requiring certain medications or doing a FaceTime call to assess or getting guidance, having that support at the back end was amazing. It was amazing, and it's thanks to Dr. Ahmed that she referred you guys to us, and she said,
small world.
It was.
It's a big help, and that's what we were talking about before. Is that the access to there's a lot of times knowledge is power. So being able to have a doctor to be able to say, this is what I see, knowing your mom very well, or knowing your loved one very well, and then being able to address that immediately, can mitigate.
And
a lot
the
of
concierge
things.
doctor can also they're not just rushing through X number of patients. Unfortunately, the way our system is set up, they're able to take their time and assess and get to know the patient well.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Awesome. Any closing thoughts as we kind of come to the end of just talking about your experience with taking care of your mom and dad, and anything you would like to say to caregivers as a whole?
I think caregivers just are, the ones who are doing the hands-on work are just, I find them to be really beyond words. I mean, they are angels, for lack of a better word, and and if anybody has the caregivers coming into their house taking care of their loved ones, treat them with respect, because they are instrumental in making our lives as care coordinators better. So I think it's a journey. It's a journey, and unfortunately, as much as we can all live in denial, right? We'll all face aging is a disease that no one escapes, right? And all we can hope to is remain healthy and have a good health span versus a lifespan and long lifespan. But at the end of the day, it's the marginal decade of our lives, and the last couple of years or the end years are quite challenging. So if we are able to take care of our loved ones at home, and that's a blessing. And if not, it's still we do the best we can.
Right.
And everyone's in a unique position. Right? So
that's good. Yeah. Man, Sunil, this is a blessing. Thank you so much.
No
thank you for having me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, this is Charles with Charlin Health Services. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and subscribe. We hope this was a blessing to you, your family, your loved ones, all your friends. Share it. And if you want to watch more videos, here they are. Enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.